these interview subjects range from our Secretary of State to sitting senators to former, Director of National Intelligence, a former Secretary of Defense.
In every level and every branch of government, all coming together on camera to say, not only have we retrieved alien spacecraft, we've retrieved alien remains.
Yeah.
Within 48 hours, Congress, major TV shows, and some very big influencers have flooded the internet with stories about aliens and UAPs. And it's happening right when we got a major update on the Cybertruck explosion outside of Trump Tower. Now, while they're busy telling you about alien bodies, I'm going to tell you why Jake Tapper and Republican congressmen are suddenly united on this one subject. And it all begins with The Age of Disclosure, which is a new documentary about the UAPs. Now, its director, Dan Farah, has been making some wild claims about UAPs, and not on fringe podcasts. He's doing this on the biggest media platforms in the world. I mean, here he is on Joe Rogan saying that America's nuclear tests were designed actually to bring down alien spacecraft.
Some of the crashes were actual crashes, where just, crashes happen. Some of them were actually caused by elements of our military intelligence community and elements of foreign military intelligence community. Nuclear weapon testing, atomic weapon testing has a ripple effect that can down these things. Yeah, and so they started doing it.
Yeah.
To shoot fish in a barrel, basically.
They did it on purpose?
Yeah. And so did
That's why they were doing it?
Now, that's a pretty shocking claim, because over 500,000 U.S. service members and roughly the same number of civilians were exposed to dangerous radiation during those tests. So if Farah is right, that means the government wasn't just giving us cancer to bring down the Soviet Union. They were doing it to obtain alien technology. And here he is telling similar crazy things to Jake Tapper as well.
So this secret Cold War race that our nation is in with adversarial nations to reverse engineer technology of non-human origin, the stakes are far, far greater than the atomic race.
Now, speaking of Jake Tapper, he even did a full segment on this documentary.
In the documentary, a number of officials go on the record to reveal a UAP crash retrieval program where technologies and even, quote, non-human biologics have been recovered.
And that's where he played an exclusive clip of Marco Rubio. I don't want to get hit with a strike, so I can't play the clip here, but here's the main point. Our Secretary of State basically said that presidents and even the heads of intelligence agencies are kept in the dark about these UAP programs so they can maintain plausible deniability. Let that sink in. One of the most powerful guys in this country basically confirmed hundreds of so-called conspiracies in one interview. Because if they're hiding stuff from the president, they're basically lying to us about damn near everything for sure. And look, I know a lot of people want to believe this whole story. I get it. But there's a whole other side to this that nobody wants to even touch. You see, all of this is happening right after that report came out about the Cybertruck explosion outside of Trump Tower in Vegas. And if that whole incident wasn't already sketchy enough, things got even stranger. Days later, Sean Ryan posted an email supposedly sent by Matthew Libbelberger.
Gotten into the weeds on any of that.
That podcast email is him.
Yeah, so we have confirmed that the document that he sent to the podcast, we know that he was the one that sent that document. That's correct.
He said, "In case I do not make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then." What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Only we in China have this capability.
He's basically doubling down on everything Dan was saying, talking about the US and China working on anti-gravity tech, and even claiming those drones we saw last November were sent by China.
China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comm system.
But here's the interesting part. He never mentions aliens. Not once. He's saying all this stuff in the sky is just top secret tech that we're not supposed to know about.
The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them, and what the way forward is.
And that's what people forget. Our own agencies have been running programs that sound just as wild as any so-called UFO. But do you see Jake Tapper doing a deep dive on that? Of course not, because if he starts looking into DARPA, he's not going to stay in this business for too long. So instead, he's hyping up a documentary that gives zero answers and just repeats the same claims we've already heard 100 times. Non-human bodies? We heard about those in an official hearing years ago.
We believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier. Do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
In another hearing, they even named the company that supposedly recovered these UAPs.
Who are the contractors that have this material, the corporations?
Well, one of them is Lockheed. And I'll tell you, I mean, I'm not saying Lockheed's the bad guys. They're doing what they were asked to do. Sure. They have lied about this because that's what they're supposed to do. But Lockheed would be one. There's a list I can give you, Congressman. Some of the big ones, the usual suspects.
Did anyone demand transparency from those defense contractors? Nope. Did Congress pass a law forcing the agencies to release the hidden files? Absolutely not. But they are happily yapping about UAPs for months.
The problem is I've reached out to some of the biggest names in UFO lore, okay? And they all got skiff flu, and we call it skiff flu, meaning like the day that the skiff was open that we reserved it, we're like, we're here, like, come on, come brief us. I think it's incredibly important to listen to the specific words that Grush uses. You know, Grush never said extraterrestrial or alien, he said interdimensional. It has become apparent that there is a movement, whether it's within the intelligence community or not, to prevent us from finding out more information on this.
We've been turned away as congressmen for stuff that we shouldn't have been. I've seen things that I think would make the average American question their government.
What if these are entities that are here on this earth, that have been on this earth, that who knows how long, and that we think they're coming in from way out. Maybe they did millennia ago, but they're here, and they're in these deep water areas.
So my question is, where's the proof? Like, actual proof, not another blurry video of an orb tagging a missile.
Are you aware of anything in the government, United States government arsenal that can split a Hellfire missile like this?
No.
And do whatever blob thing it did and then keep going? Nothing?
Nothing.
All right, how about you, Chief Wiggins?
Nothing to my knowledge, ma'am.
And while we're asking questions, why did the DoD block Vegas PD from releasing the manifesto they found on that Green Beret's phone? How is that suddenly a national security threat? And why is no one even bringing it up? But we already know the answer. They won't share anything that hurts their plans. That's why they will not help the veterans who got sick after being exposed to who knows what at places like Area 51.
They knew when they did the assessment that our air was contaminated, our soil was contaminated, and our drinking water was contaminated. Worse is the fact that my wife had 3 miscarriages. One of the guys that I worked with, his wife had 7. All 4 of my children were born with birth defects or significant health problems. One of the important things that we suffer from is long-term ionizing radiation exposure. We happen to live in a location that was used for nuclear testing. Last week, the RECA Act was brought back in and extended, which is the downwinders bill, to take care of people that lived 150 and 200 miles away that have cancer clusters because of the exposure that they incurred from the nuclear testing that took place in Nevada. My dormitory was 2.3 miles from a detonation site. It's a little different.
And that's exactly why we shouldn't get swept up in this extremely coordinated media push. Instead, we should be asking, what are they really hiding? What are they trying to distract us from? I mean, just notice how weird stuff always seems to pop off when the government is under pressure. We saw the same thing last year. People were asking serious questions about those hurricanes. Suddenly, these mysterious drones show up and boom, no one's talking about the hurricane victims anymore. This UAP thing feels like the same playbook all over again. And unfortunately, a lot of people are